so I gotta get ready for my presentation, right? Okay, all right. All right, very good.
Test.
I'm good. Maybe I can hear myself. We're good. All right, thank you. I appreciate your help. Very good. Okay, well, thank you very much for having me back. It was a great visitation that we had out here. What a great turnout. What a great group of wonderful people. So I really appreciate it. Everybody was able to come and I got a chance to talk to. So I'm going to go through my 90-day plan. I'm not going to be auditioning for an auctioneer, but I will be going fast because I do have a time frame. But it is 90 days. So I did give the board a detailed plan of the presentation. So those of you that would like to see the details, I have a website that I created for this process, and it's my name, BenKirbyInspire.com. So BenKirbyInspire.com. If you go to that, you can click the professional documents, and then the 90-day plan's there. You can download that if you want to see the details. So as we go through the presentation, I'm going to highlight some of the things that are in the detail and work my way through this in under 20 minutes. So that's my plan. All right, well, very good. As you can see here, I'm gonna start off, and I'm gonna take our mascots along with us, our Hawks, our Huskies, and our Rangers, as I work through the 90-day plan to learn more about Forest Hills Community Schools, Forest Hills Public Schools. So one thing I want to be clear of is this is about learning. So the first 90 days, it's really important as a leader for me to learn. And this is really taken from 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, the tenets of Stephen Covey. And there's a quote there: leaders must first seek to understand, then to be understood. And that is really who I am as a person. I really want to work through that process. And I really want to make sure that I engage a large number of stakeholders. There's a lot of people that care about the school district, that are part of the school district, and I will do everything I can to meet all of those stakeholders. This is a process that's proven successful for me. I used it when I went to South Lyon and didn't know anybody, and when I went to Lake Orion and didn't know anybody, and actually did all of that online. So that was a whole different element. And this is the 90 days is based on July 1 start date. So obviously there's a little bit of time between now and then that I can be doing some learning as well. So as far as the process, first it's about listening. It's about listening to all the stakeholders. That includes the board, that includes students, staff, parents, community, business partners, and then listening and then learning. So that's going to be a big piece for me, is learning about the school district, learning about the individuals, taking the prior knowledge that I have as a superintendent, not only what I learned about the district, but what I learned about the profession, and putting it all together to try to understand how we move forward. And then really sharing my story. When I'm meeting with all of the stakeholders, they need to know who I am. They need to know, what makes me tick, what my philosophies are, so they'll understand that during this process as well. And then any potential action steps that might be put forth as we move forward. And ultimately, what I'm looking to do is establish and strengthen relationships within the school district. So as we go through, there's going to be some areas of focus. I'm not going to dig real deep into these, but obviously it's going to be about students. It's going to be about building relationships with all those stakeholders that I talked about. It's going to be about understanding the organization as a whole, and it's going to be about governance, our team of 8, as well as all the other leaders within the district that certainly make a difference. This is a quote that I think really says a lot about the profession that we live in. A lot of people have gone further than they thought they could because somebody else thought they could. Zig Ziglar. In Lake Orion, our chant, our motto has been champions of hope, and that's what we are as educators for our children, for our colleagues, especially through some of the tough times that we've been, for our community. And that's really been, my philosophy is that we are champions of hope in education, and that is what I really believe strongly in. So the first area that I will learn about is about student achievement. And in order to get student achievement, we need to have great engagement. So there's four different areas. This is the first one, and each one's going to have a little intro. I forgot to mention that, so sorry about the scare. The strange guy. So the students obviously are very important, and this first section is really going to be about getting with the instruction department and really understanding all of the things that are entailed. Looking at the student achievement data for third grade reading, for our math testing, NWA testing, all the different things that we do. Really looking at it by building as well as comprehensively at the district, and really understanding the achievement gaps, the demographics, looking at the advanced placement courses that our students take, what they have access to, whether or not they take the test, those types of things. I think that's going to be really important. It's going to be important for me to understand the curriculum meeting cycles so that I know if there's a change in the curriculum, what's the process that we follow in this district. I really want to make sure that all of our students have access. I want to make sure I understand the multi-tiered systems of support, because students aren't always going to learn at the tier 1 level. And I want to make sure that I'm understanding the annual education reports, all the content within, and then certainly the professional development plans that we have for our staff as we move forward into the school district. In days 31 to 60, I want to get into the buildings and talk with our building administrators. And really talk about curriculum implementation. We at central office sometimes think things are happening. They're not always happening like we think. And I want to make sure that I understand, the realities in the building as well. I also want to understand the school schedules. There's been a lot of whispering, talking about 6-period day, 7-period day, 4-block, lots of different ways to schedule a school. And so I want to make sure I understand how people feel about that in the buildings as well. The Director of Safety is going to be really important. Got a chance to meet, I believe his name is Ryan, today, and I want to understand the facility assessments, the processes we use, how the SROs are used. I want to understand more about our threat assessments and our suicide assessments. I do understand we use the BTM system here. I want to make sure that I understand all of the programs and processes in this section. I'm going to start diving into the middle school data a little bit with some of our local testing as well as state testing. And then also spending some time with the new special education director to understand the programming we'll learn together. I'll dive into some discipline data during this period of time, as well as understanding the community partners that are actually supporting our students in the classroom. Days 61 to 90, if you think about that, that's now when the students are in school. So we're really diving into things, and I want to make sure that I'm getting to the student leadership groups that we have established in the district. Certainly at the high schools as well as Flex Academy, and again, understanding the programming and the safety and the culture, how our kids feel about that. I think that's going to be a really important time, as well as knowing about our social emotional programs as well. There's a lot of college credit earning opportunities. I want to understand, because when I look at some of the data, I don't quite understand. It's more prevalent in some high schools than in one high school more than another. So I just want to understand the complexities of all 3 high schools and the different programming that we use. In each of these processes, I want to try to give feedback back to those people that I talked with. Give them some things I noticed, some things I appreciated, and maybe some things that I continue to wonder about. You will notice there's some pictures in there kind of sharing with you that I've been through this work, and so just somewhat of a demonstration of that as well. So I'm going to move to the second area of focus.
Relationships are key to the success of our students and our community. I look forward to learning about this area.
Okay, so building relationships is really going to be important. And again, like I talked about, there's a lot of stakeholders. But one thing I want to make sure that I do in that first 30 days is get to Brody D's Cafe. I met him in my visit on Friday in the CI classroom. Just a dynamite young man. He invited me in for a cup of coffee, so I'll make sure that I get there. I want to make sure I'm meeting with the individual board members and really talking about your communication needs, what's important to you, what are your hopes and dreams for the school district, and what do you see as growth edges as a board, and try to get from you who are some key business people that we really need to make sure that we have great relationships with as a school district, potentially for a superintendent advisory down the road. We will have a couple of new high school administrators. As an old high school person myself, it'll be important to engage with them, make sure that they have the support that they need, as well as the direction. This will also be an important time for me to meet with the foundation, media people. I did meet some of them tonight, the labor unions, municipalities, any elected officials, and certainly the Kent ISD has a lot of support for school districts. I want to understand what we are doing and maybe what we aren't as well, as far as opportunities. And again, I want to have, this was a great start, but set some dates to actually meet the community, whether it be an open house format if I'm selected, same with staff, same with students. I want to make sure that everybody has access to me. So I'm going to do some sort of an open house. So days 31 to 60. Again, I want to get some of the survey data. I know as a school district, we put out surveys through the school improvement process, other processes, but I want to know what that looks like. Do we have any kind of summary reports that I can take a look at? Also understand the service groups or civic groups that we've been engaged with, whether it's the DDA or Rotary or Optimist clubs, those types of things. Some of the PTO offices, I want to try to open up the lines of communication so that I understand what their needs are and what their process has been with the school district. And again, talking about this board meeting structure and really understanding how we celebrate all the great things that our students do. That will be really important to me as well. And then getting with the assistant superintendent and human resources to understand some of our selection and retention strategies that we use in the school district is going to be important during this time frame. In days 61 to 90, again, looking at really understanding the purpose and process of the Student Advisory Council that Trustee Bonk runs and what my role is in that. I think that's going to be really important for me to understand. And I want to get into visiting the buildings. Again, we're in a point in time where students are in the buildings, so I want to make sure to do that. And potentially look at, depending on the survey cadence that we use, but an engagement survey with our staff, potentially with parents as well. And then I want to shadow at each high school a student for half of a day, as well as including Flex Academy, so I can really understand that school experience. And then ultimately, really understanding the learning and demonstration expectations we have of our graduates. I think that that's something I want to better understand. No matter what high school you go to, what do we expect from first those graduates? So that will be in days 61 to 90. I'm going to make a move into the third area of focus.
In order to inspire our students, to give them the hope that they deserve, we need to make sure that we maximize the finances that we have as well as the human resources.
So on that picture, just to be clear, there are multiple monitors. He is not totally zoning out. I just want to be real clear on that. It does look like he's sleeping. That is not the case. Highly engaged, I think I promise you. Okay, so days 1 through 30, this is about having some meetings with our executive assistant of the superintendent, so I can understand some of the cadences that we have for meeting times, and really understanding our communication cycles within the school district. That's really important because we need to be able to grow our engagement and our trust with our community including our staff. And then really identifying, over the last 18 months, school districts have faced some challenges. What are the unique challenges, or maybe not so unique challenges that have been surfaced here? I want to make sure that I understand that. The bond construction, there's obviously a lot of work that's been going on. That's going to be a theme all the way through, is just understanding my role in that and what kind of leadership and input that I would be needed to put into all those processes. Really understanding our leadership goals, I think that's important too. My role as a superintendent, our role as principals is to develop and multiply leaders. And I think that that's something that's really, really important that we continue to do in the profession. I want to make sure they spend some time with the department directors. They too have goals. They have a huge role in the district. They have a huge part of the budget. I want to make sure that I am understanding what their growth edges are and what their needs are, as well as what their goals are. And then really looking at the approved budget is going to be important to me. Again, we're talking about July 1 and after, and then as well as what the final amendment looked like as well. So I have seen the Finance Committee proposed budget, so where that ends up, I'll be very curious and want to learn more about that as well. I want to make sure that I'm understanding the recovery plan that we have around cybersecurity, if we have one, and then what kind of training that we're doing with our staff to try to prevent some of those cybersecurity risks that have become so prevalent in schools. Now, the last section, or the last piece here, is really understanding the opening day. That is one, very few times do you get the entire staff together, and I want to understand what the history is there and how we can make that a great and memorable event. Days 31 to 60, again, looking at the organizational chart of the district, who falls where, who does what. That's going to be really important for me to have a good understanding before we get all of the students and staff back. Again, looking at some of the changes in the budget that might occur, because we'll have some turnover during the summer. So what does that look like? Are there opportunities there? And then start to really talk about what our communication expectations are as the district. And then learning about the professional learning plan, not only for our instructional staff, but our principals and some of our support staff as well. See what's in place there. It's going to be very important to me to dive into the pupil enrollment. Cohort attendance is really something that tells a big story. I've looked at a lot of data already, but I really want to find out the rest of the story. There's always history, there's always an understanding within a school district, and I have looked at a lot of numbers already. And then also, are there some revenue generating strategies that the district has been using, and if there's not, are there some that we can move forward with? Days 61 to 90, again, talking a little bit about pupil accounting. I want to meet with a pupil accounting specialist and talk about our enrollment process. What did she see during all of our enrollments? Start to really communicate out what our social media plan was going to be with the communications department, and just making sure that we are celebrating our district successes. If we don't tell our story, somebody else is going to. So I prefer to be the one to do that as a school district. There will be some new budget needs. Everybody comes back, all the staff, all the principals, and oh my gosh, I didn't think about this. I need this. This broke. How does that impact the budget? That's going to be really important to understand those things. And then ultimately, like I said previously, I'll be working to give some feedback to those that are part of this whole process. I'm going to move into the fourth and final stage, and that is district governance.
The fourth and final area is district governance. No organization can overcome the constraints of its leadership. We must continue to grow and build together.
So that's really important as a team of 8. That's important as an individual leader, that we continue to grow and grow each other, challenge each other professionally. But again, during the first 30 days, I talked about really meeting with a board member, but really understanding like where you're at. Why are you a board member? What's your long term? What's your short term? Really understanding that. Spending some time with Dr. Fossen to talk about how does this group want to grow? What have you guys talked about? What are some things that you want to do? I want to be part of that so that we can grow together. Really understanding our safety procedures. I talked about meeting with Ryan before. It's kind of high level stuff, but now really to understand what do we do in the classrooms when this happens? What do we do in the buildings? How do you access different things? Those types of things. And the strategic plan, I need to understand the status of the strategic plan. I have, some understanding, I really wanna get into that, and then, talk about what the future of that might look like. The assistant superintendents play a significant role in the success of this district. I wanna, help them be successful. That'll be a big part of this, is really talking about them, how they wanna grow, and then if there's things that I hear through all of this that can help us grow as a district, then we can grow together, with that learning edge as well. So as I move into days 31 to 60, that is around the time I think that we will probably be ready for some sort of a work session, if not before, and really talk about communication protocols, expectations of each other, norms. I think some norms have been established. Did we do that as a group? Did we do that individually? What's our buy-in? Those types of things. And really understand the evaluation cycle of the superintendent in the district, and how we can continually be growing together and communicating together. The responsibilities and relationships with the police is really important. Not only what we have here as far as our security, but those that are gonna come to the district and support. How does that all fit in? I wanna understand that. We've had a great relationships with the police in both of the last two districts, even the previous district, and that's really important. Safety and security is on my heart and mind all the time. Crisis management plans, I need to make sure that I understand that. I know I'm not always gonna have an intimate role in those things, but that's gonna come up, and I wanna know what it is that we do to support everybody, as well as respond to things. I acknowledge in here that I will have at least 2 mentors. It's gonna probably be more than that. It's really important. I don't care where you're at in the profession. I'm 31 years in the profession, and I'm constantly talking to others, and that's how you stay grounded. That's how you understand, the rest of the story, and help make decisions, and again, help make me grow. Action steps, days 61 to 90, is really creating, at that point, I think I can create a learning plan for me. Like I said, it's really important for me to grow during this time frame with the things I've learned in the previous 60. I think it will help me if there's some growth edges that I have that I need to learn more about. I would lean on local, state, and national resources for that as well. I've had a lot of success at all 3 of those levels as far as learning and networking, and really opening up my eyes with some different opportunities. I think it's really important for us to be visible, and I say us, I'm talking about cabinet. We exist to support the schools, and I want to understand what has been that role. We have a very active role in Lake Orion and being in the buildings, and so they know that we are there to support them. There's different strategies around that. We still have work that we have to do. What does that look like in a district this size? I think that's going to be really important as well. So, and as I said, feedback is going to be important. I intend to engage a lot of different people, and I do, and I'm open to different ideas, but summarizing a report for the board of the things that I've learned over the 90 days and potential action steps would be something that I would want to share with the board as well. So I know there's a lot to learn. I've already learned a lot prior to hitting the submit button for the application. After, over the last 6 weeks, there's been a lot of learning, and there's still a lot of learning to go, and I will continue to learn throughout my profession and my career. So, as far as district governance, the question really is there a chair for me? And I would contend that, as it says up there, good things are ahead if I'm in that little spot over there. So, I really look forward to that potential opportunity, and appreciate you listening to me audition as an auctioneer, as I started to do that thing. So, and here's a perfect example about cybersecurity. It looks like the mascots maybe jumped in and gave their opinion as well, but I just wanted to share with you. I really appreciate it. It's been a great process, and I've had an opportunity to meet a lot of great people. So